Patlamada hayatını kaybeden işçilerimize Allah'tan rahmet, ailelerine ve milletimize başsağlığı diliyorum. Madenden yaralı olarak kurtulan ve halen tedavisi süren işçilerimize Rabbimden acil şifalar diliyorum.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan visited site of coal mine explosion in northern Turkey on Saturday. President Erdogan cancelled a planned trip to eastern Diyarbakir province and instead traveled to Amasra in Bartın province. Monitoring the situation closely, the Turkish leader stated that search and rescue operations were progressing rapidly at the mine.
Devletimiz madenin -300 ve -350 kodlarında yaşanan patlamanın hemen ardından tüm kurumlarını seferber etmek suretiyle kaza mahallindeki çalışmalara başlamıştır. Bir yandan arama kurtarma faaliyetleri yürütülürken bir yandan da yaralı işçilerimiz ambulans, helikopter ve uçak ambulanslarla çeşitli illerimizdeki sağlık kuruluşlarımıza nakledilmiştir.
The explosion occurred around 300 meters below the entrance of the mine, unfortunately resulted in the death of dozens of Turkish miners. Turkish prosecutors launched an investigation into the cause of the incident, but initial indications were that the blast was caused by fire damp, a term referring to methane and coal mines. Rescue teams from Kütahya, Eskişehir, Zonguldak, Sakarya and Karabük provinces headed to the mine for assistance.
Elbette bu patlamanın nasıl yaşandığı, varsa sorumlularının kimler olduğu yürütülecek idari ve adli soruşturmayla ortaya çıkacaktır. Bu soruşturmalara çok yönlü olarak zaten başlanmıştır. Devlet olarak yapmamız gereken yardımı, desteği de hemen kabine toplantımızda belirleyip onun da adımını atacağız.
Turkey received messages of condolence from around the world on Saturday over a coal mine blast that killed over 40 people. Russian President Vladimir Putin sent a condolence message to his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan for those who lost their lives in a mine explosion in the northern Bartın province. Putin conveyed his sadness and support to the families and relatives of the injured, wishing for a speedy recovery. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky shared a message of condolences for those who lost their lives due to the mine explosion in Turkey. Zelensky said on Twitter in Turkish, quote, "I learned with deep sadness the news that a mining explosion occurred in the Amasra district of Bartın. I offer my condolences to the families and relatives of those who lost their lives and wish a speedy recovery to the injured." Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev also sent a condolence message to Erdogan for the mine explosion. Aliyev conveyed his condolences to the families and relatives of those who lost their lives and also wished healing for the wounded. Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif issued a message of condolence for those who lost their lives in the mine explosion. Oman Foreign Ministry said they shared Turkey's sadness due to the explosion. Jordanian Foreign Ministry noted that Jordan is in solidarity with the Turkish nation and its people due to the explosion in Bartın. The U.S. Embassy in the Turkish capital Ankara stated that the mine blast in Bartın deeply saddened them. Quote, "We convey our condolences to the families and relatives of those who lost their lives. We wish the injured a speedy recovery." The Italian embassy in Ankara said on Twitter, "We share the pain of the families of those who lost their lives in a mine explosion in Bartın. We wish the wounded a speedy recovery and share the suffering of the Turkish people at this painful time." Chargé d'Affaires of the British Embassy in Ankara, Ajay Sharma, underscored that he feels deep sadness over the Bartın mine blast and that he wishes patience to the families and relatives of the deceased miners while wishing speedy healing to the injured. He also expressed hope for a positive outcome from such an incident. The French embassy in the Turkish capital expressed deep sadness over the incident. Condolences to the relatives of the miners who lost their lives. We wish the injured a speedy recovery. Get well soon, Bartın. Get well soon, Turkey. In another Twitter post, the Greek embassy in Ankara also said, "We convey our sincerest condolences from Greece to Turkey for the painful work accident in Amasra."
An explosion inside a coal mine in northern Turkey occurred around 300 meters below the entrance of the mine on Friday. The explosion in Bartın province, unfortunately, resulted in the death of dozens of Turkish miners. There were 110 men occupying the mine at the time, and some of those working on the upper levels managed to exit to safety.
What happened at that moment I didn't see. There was a dust cloud. We could not see anything. I went out on my own. There was an explosion. I don't know exactly. There was pressure and we were a little behind. We were injured due to the pressure. We couldn't see anything.
The initial indications were that the blast was caused by fire damp, a term referring to the methane in coal mines. There were no ongoing fires inside the mine and the ventilation inside was working properly. Men wearing hard hats and head torches could be seen making several descents into the mine shaft using a gated lift as crowds gathered outside to await news on the recovery operation.
We were on a day shift. I was home when the phone rang. I also heard it on the news. I rushed over and we've been in the mine since.
Emergency workers, including police officers and ambulance crews, also assembled tents near the shaft entrance to aid the recovery operation. Colleagues and families of the miners were waiting at the sidelines of the scene and at hospitals where the wounded are being treated. In Turkey's worst mine disaster, a total of 301 people died in 2014 after a fire inside a coal mine in the town of Soma in the western part of the country.
We saw a horrible scene. It cannot be described and it's very sad. They're all my friends. Friends I eat and drink with at the weekend. They all had dreams. I guess this was it. They all had families. Some were married and some were single. Each one had hopes and a mission.
Funerals for miners killed in a coal mine explosion in northern Turkey began Saturday as officials raised the death toll to at least 41 people. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan joined funeral prayers for miners.
Kendileri inşallah şehadet makamına ulaşmak suretiyle Rabbimizin sevgili Habibine komşu oluyorlar.
A funeral was held on Saturday for other miners. Relatives and friends of Selçuk Ayvaz gathered around his coffin draped in the Turkish flag as he was laid to rest. Another miner, Emrah Kaval, had worked at a mine in Turkey's northern Bartın province for 3 years. Outside a hospital morgue, people gave condolences to Osman Özer, whose son was killed in the mine explosion. Özer said the family had rushed to the town after hearing about the accident the previous day.
Olayı duyduğumuzda dün akşamdan itibaren saat 7:30 gibi Masar'daydık. Tabi bu saat oldu. Evi bilmiyoruz. Evi bilmediğimiz gibi yani sağlam bir şey olsa o da yok. Bir de cenaze de gitmiyoruz.